What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosa. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, happy Friday, buddy. We made it. It's another week just like that. Poof. In our world, it just seems to go up in smoke every week, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It's just gone. The time escapes me. It still feels like I'm waiting for summer 21.
Oh man, there you go, dude. It's nice weather out today. I'm kind of like, this is, man, right in line for the weekend, and all I called for is nothing but rain. Well, that's okay, because we'll be inside playing more games, Scott. Let's go for today's show, where people can be joining us live over on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, TV streaming networks around the globe. Coming up on today's show, an insider claims to have a GTA 6 Easter egg from San Andreas Definitive Edition. We'll see about that one. BAFTA award winners are claiming just a few winnings for the evening, and Jack Trenton is back. Never thought I'd see the day, but we'll talk about that too. Scott, let's get going. As Rockstar Insider claims, this San Andreas Definitive Edition picture is an Easter egg for GTA 6. Dun, 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 dun. This comes from George over at The Gamer. An insider has claimed that the new painting found in the definitive edition of GTA San Andreas is indeed an image from GTA 6. Although GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition launched to a pretty rough reception, without a doubt, there were some bright spots that kept players a little bit more upbeat. One example of this framed picture that can be found in the updated San Andreas, a little prob in which shows a detailed picture of a house that looks similar to what you see in Florida. Ever since the picture was found, its high level of detail, in fact it can't be found in GTA 5, has caused fans to speculate that it could be our first look at GTA 6, as Rockstar is known for putting hints at future games in its releases. As reported by Games Radar, Rockstar insider Matthews Victor reported that his sources have now confirmed to him that the house is indeed a first look at GTA 6, and it's indeed inspired by a house in Florida, Scott.
Inspiration,
Down
a little bit of a location. Yeah, Florida, would that make Miami, Vice City sort of the idea? I like that.
Yeah, it's exactly where I was going too, right? That's the biggest thing for me. We talk about so much about Vice City around here, and I really would love to see, I don't think we'll see it now, but I really would like to see a complete remake of that game, right? Not a remaster. We talk about the difference between remasters, remakes all the time here on the show. I'd love to see a complete remake from the ground up. Yo, Rockstar, just shoot that over to Blue Point and let them handle it. They got you covered.
Yeah, they have a good track record that we could follow.
Absolutely.
I'm partial to GTA 4. If we can get a GTA 4 remaster and then a Vice City remake, I think that's the best of both sides. But I look at this house, and you know what I first thought it was? I thought it was Walter White's house from Breaking Bad, which is in New Mexico. So maybe the architecture kind of lines up, right? But I can almost picture a pizza on the rooftop.
Well, there you go, dude. They pull inspiration and put us back in the world of Miami with dude. Vice City was so cool. It was really cool. I'm definitely curious. A lot of us are always curious about what's going on with Rockstar and the future of GTA. Where is that at? You know, I just got back into online for GTA 5. Ran some jobs last night, so that was, it's a ton of fun to be in that world. But it's also exciting to see what are they creating next. We won't find out for another 3 years, right? Rumors are GTA 6 is 2025, when we might actually see that. Rumors were floating around that we were going to get some kind of announcement possibly this year, maybe like a splash screen of a logo. Very, very minimal. But dude, here's a full-fledged picture, possibly, right? Now, it's a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. But if that's where they're at right now, how far along are they actually in development? And we've also heard rumblings of them starting over too, right?
Yeah, I suspect it's not very far along. And I think if this photo was added specifically for that, I think it's a little bit early to let that steam out of the bag. They're missing that option for a surprise. Hey, it was there in front of you the whole time. I don't know if it's been kind of spoiled this way, but that could very well just be one of the developers' houses. For all I know.
It'd
be a little strange to put that in there, but if I was making a game, you better believe there may be my cat hidden in the files somewhere.
Dude, you remember jumping into GTA 5 for the first time and looking at the size of the map?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how big that looked at that time? it looked huge, right? It absolutely looked massive. I remember I took a boat. I was telling you this last night. I took a boat when I first got the game and went around the entire island of GTA 5. I don't know. It took me
3 hours later.
It took me forever to do it, but I'm like, I'm going to do it. And it was just all the way around and it looked huge. But now when you jump into other games, you're like, man, this map looks small. Like I jumped back in the other day and I took a look at the map and went, this isn't really all that big, is it? Like when you take a grand look. So here's Kyle and I, we were playing the other night. We're talking about map sizes and this, that, and the other. And then we get into the discussion of Red Dead, and Red Dead Online can rest in peace from, I think, the future of what we see here with GTA Online.
Yeah.
But we took a look at Red Dead Redemption 1, comparable to Red Dead Redemption 2. The size and scope of the map. The size and scope of the map looked to be about 2 to 2.5 times the size of the original. How big?
The original already spanned the border,
right?
Of the giant area.
How big do you think GTA 6 map will be?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting to think about. Do you think it's going to be just like GTA but scaled up, or do you think it's going to be more like Ubisoft and scaled down?
No, I think we're going to be in for a much bigger game. They've lasted this one for 3 generations. I think they're going to look to do that as well, moving in with the next one. And I think in order for them to do that, as beautiful as GTA 5 looks, especially with online, and we were just talking about how the textures the other day, right? Like it's flat, but if it's painted at the proper angle and stuff like that, the textures look like there's more depth to it. Now moving forward, Unreal Engine 5 is such a beautiful thing, right? You see a lot of the mechanics integrated to step things up, and I think Rockstar, once again, like they always do, they're going to step up their game here. And I think we're going to be something in probably, if I'm guessing, 3 times, maybe even a bit more, the size of what GTA 5 is at right now, is my guess.
Oh, it's certainly possible. I think there might be more of a live map kind of thing. What Epic and Fortnite has been doing, just kind of rotate different sections in or out. I think that'd be a good way, especially if you're going to make that game last 15 years, however long the window is.
Okay, now, so if they do that, let me ask you this, because we've seen this as of late a lot, right? Half a game launched. Will they launch this as a complete package with single player and multiplayer, or will we get single player first, like we have in the past, and then get multiplayer after in the future? Do you think they'll split it or keep it all in one package?
I think likely split, just because of the scope of how big that game is. And to follow up another GTA in general, it has to be a certain kind of size, and I think that's going to run over more than what you could sell for $80.
Sure.
I'm wondering if this is really going to be, the biggest GTA ever, if it's going to flop, because how do you follow up something this solid?
I don't know. Well, we will definitely see, right? They're always been so right on the topical of what's happening in the world kind of thing, right? They always play off of that, and how can they kind of carry that into GTA 6? And I think with recent what we've been dealing with in the real world isn't really something they want to portray necessarily over in GTA 6, right?
Yeah.
So it's the pop culture thing might be a little bit different. So we'll see what GTA 6 looks like, but dude, we're not going to see it anytime soon. However, what we did see was last night, the BAFTAs for 2022. First party PlayStation titles, those being any games developed by a studio under PlayStation Studios banner, are, at least in part, known for being award-winning games. That tradition has not changed with the 2022 BAFTA Awards, as PlayStation Studios games Returnal and Housemarque and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart from Insomniac take home 6 awards between them. Not a bad night for PlayStation, Scott. Jane Perry, friend of the show, voice actress for Selena, took home the awards for Best Performer in a lead role, where while elsewhere Returnal won for audio achievement, music, and the biggest award of the night, Best Game.
Ooh, that's a big one.
That is definitely a big one.
And not the only win either. I think they had 4 different medals or awards given, and that's about as good as you can hope for, I think.
Absolutely. 4 for Jane Perry and the team over there at Housemarque with Returnal for the night. That's not a bad night. But also followed up was Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, won the remaining 2 awards, unsurprisingly winning both technical achievement and animation. Not bad at all. Other standouts for awards included Kimberly Brook, who won Best Performer in her supporting role for Psychonauts 2. Dude, do you play that one?
I played a very small amount of the game.
It
just didn't quite grab me. No.
But that's fair. That's fair. That's not for everybody. Also, taking up some of the awards was The Artful Escape, and won the best debut game and artistic achievement, respectively. Dude, Artful Escape is one crazy looking weird game. And I heard it's not for everybody, but if you do like it, you love it. So
okay, I have to give that one a try. I've seen a little bit of the art style, and I thought, oh, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens there. But dude, let's get into the next one. As former PlayStation head wants to buy a game company for $1 billion. So that's comes from Sean Murray.
I got a Dr. Evil feel out of that.
I know. I did. You caught that. I'm glad you caught that one. Former PlayStation US chief Jack Trenton wants to buy a gaming company, and he doesn't seem to particularly care which one, so long as it falls within its budget. The announcement comes as part of an interview with Axios Gaming, where Trenton confirmed his intent to purchase, quote, a game company, end quote, well, between $1 and $2 billion.
Oh, all right, Blue Box. Now might be the time for you to bounce out.
He buys PlayStation. Trenton is currently the CEO of Power Up Acquisition, a special purpose acquisition company, SPAC for short, that allows investors to put their money directly into specific markets. In the case of Power Up, the market is video games. According to Axios, Power Up Acquisition raised $250 million in February, just in February, with the initial plan of purchasing a game company within 18 months. But that has since been shortened to 15 months. Quote, the fact that we are willing to go to 15 months and sweeten the pot for investors, end quote, said Trenton, quote, I think was an indication that we felt very confident that there were a number of tremendous targets out there that we could land, end quote. Scott, okay. Trenton was known for back in the day. I'm going to throw it all the way back to PS3 days, my friend. The PS3, the one where you would go and get another job for because everybody saw the price drop and just about lost their minds. And then PlayStation was like, nope. PS2 was the biggest selling console of all time. You're gonna want a PS3, go get another job. That did not turn out to be the case, and developers struggled with the cell processor. There's a bunch of issues, but by the end of that life cycle, PS3 surpassed the Xbox 360. It was the bigger console. Turned out to be a beautiful thing in the end, but at the start, it was a rocky start, and we all feared going into the PS5 that wonder if they'll have that mentality, because when they came out with PS4, dude, they flipped it right around.
Yeah, that must have been a worse statement, and the entire release announcement. I don't know if it's ever been that bad, unless you're, releasing the newest Diablo on mobile. I think that's the only time it's ever been worse received.
Yeah, but no, absolutely.
If Jack has $1 billion to burn and he wants to buy a company, well, I have a deal for him.
ITG is up for sale. Oh, he's not talking about us. Damn it. But
I can pull some old high school code again. Just throw some curlies on it. I can make it work.
So here's the thing. What studio do you think they're actually targeting, right? If they're looking for studios, they have $1 billion in their pocket. Who would be a place to go? We just saw recently the Quantic Dream went to NetEase, right? Which they were already kind of partnered with, but they're also heavily partnered with PlayStation with exclusive deals over there going on. You would have thought Quantic would have went to PlayStation. Turns out that didn't happen at all. One of the biggest companies around, Activision, just got bought up by... Now, if you take a look, obviously a big difference though between $68 billion versus $1 to $2 billion. But still, Bungie recently got purchased by PlayStation for $3.6 billion. So, like, at this,
I could have expected another zero on top of that one too. 3 seems quite low, but that's just the environment we're in now.
Well, kind of, right? So here's the thing: if we were looking to buy some of these studios, even Bungie coming in at $3 billion, it's not a very big studio if you only come into the table with $1 or $2 billion at this point. Doesn't that seem a little light?
Yeah, it's not certain what kind of a scope they're going for, but it can't be that big. I jokingly throw a blue box, but I think that's only because of their blunder. Their price tag might drop.
Oh boy, well, yeah, like 500,000. It's
you might be able to pick up them in another one, actually.
That's just unfortunate how that studio is gone. I wonder if IO is interested in selling, right? Like we've heard even Ubisoft would be interested, but they're not going to be selling for $1 or $2 billion.
No.
Right?
Yeah, like, it's going to require a lot more than that.
Absolutely. We'll see. We'll keep tabs on what Jack is up to, but it's nice to see Jack. Dude, he always had such a presence. That was the thing. At the time, it was like Facebook. Where was that one coming from? PlayStation had. Oh, that's where it was coming from. PlayStation had like a face for the company, right? They always had somebody to kind of go, "This is our presence. We are PlayStation," and you would go PlayStation. Boom, Jack Trenton, right? Like Shuhei Yoshida. You had all these names that you would kind of iterate and kind of relate to with PlayStation, and now I don't feel like that's really there. You have Jim Ryan who's there, but he's way more on the business side of things than kind of consumer based in a sense, right? You have Herman Hulst, but he's pretty quiet for the most part, and you still have Shuhei Yoshida kicking around, but
Herman anymore at all.
Not at all. No, you really don't. So I'm like, man, PlayStation, they need that face back, right? I love that personality, especially with Shu. When Shu did it, man, it was like one of the greatest things because Shu's just this bubbly character and he just loves what he does, right? He loves this industry. And to see the biggest smile on his face and talk about games, dude, I'll never forget. He cried playing Journey. And he related it to his, I want to say it was his grandmother. It was either his grandmother or his mother. I can't quite remember. But it was one of those scenarios where he was just kind of, in the moment talking about his experience playing Journey. And he cried at the end of it because it was so relatable to where he was at currently in his life, right? And it's just, man, I love Shu. Never met the guy, but just from everything I've come across and, followed him over the years, Shuhei Yoshida is a fantastic character and person I'd love to have on the show. But we'll see if we ever get to that point. But someday, Scott, that would definitely be where I'd like to see it. But yeah, getting back to Jack, started this new company, left PlayStation, right? Started this new company. Now they're looking to get kind of into the weeds again with more video games and stuff like that. I think it's a good thing. But I think what's a good thing for you, Scott, is the next title what we're talking about is a PS5, PS4, Cat 'em Up, Stray, rated in Korea. Release date could finally be coming soon. This comes from Robert Ramsey over at Push Square. A new rating in South Korea suggests the release date news could finally be coming our way. The PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 cyberpunk-styled adventure game in which you play as a cat first caught everyone's attention, especially Scott's, when it was announced in 2020. Since then, meaningful news on Stray has been a rarity, although publisher Annapurna Interactive did ease potential worries by confirming that the title is still on track for 2022, but a few weeks back. But yeah, we're still waiting on the all-important release date. Again, as spotted by Getsuma, Stray's Korea rating does perhaps possibly suggest then things are in motion. Scott, I know you're excited. Here's the problem, dude. You gotta go get a PlayStation
5. Yes. That is step one. Step two is Stray. I wonder why I'm so interested in this title, especially being on the other side of the fence. And I think it just comes down to my enjoyment of cats. Really, my cat is my favorite creature on the planet.
That's fair.
I don't know if anything will change that. And I think we need to play more games as a cat. I know that's silly, but I don't think it's been done enough yet.
No. Yeah, you can play as a mouse with Quill and Moss.
Oh, yeah.
So, there are some other... I think the closest thing as of recently would be like Biomutant, which we just talked about yesterday, of all things. Biomutant was this furry, fuzzy thing that was kind of a cross between a couple animals. But honestly, like, what have we played recently, Scott, that's been animal-centric, right? As a main character. Yeah. There hasn't been a lot.
The only thing I can think of is Monster Hunter World, where you have your cat friends that cook for you, but you don't get to play as them.
What do they call those things?
Calico, because they're cats, like a calico, and they're also your pal. I love it. It's so bad. I love it.
There you go. We do have one on Hellblade 2 as well, Scott, but I think we're going to skip that just because it's pretty lengthy, and we're once again running out of time. Imagine that, eh? Here, running out of time. Wow. Scott, you did point out one thing, though. The House of the Dead remake spotted for PS4. Here's a new one. Classic arcade shooter, The House of the Dead, is getting a remake. We all knew that, right? But it was coming to the Switch. And exclusively to the Switch is what rumors were about. Now, as spotted by a Reddit user, The House of the Dead remake has appeared on PlayStation Network servers, which suggests that an announcement could be imminent. However, we get some confirmation. Hopefully, we get some confirmation soon on that one. Scott, you excited for this title?
I am, because I'm interested in how it's going to work on PlayStation because it's a motion kind of game. As far as I understand, it's all, like one of those old arcade games with the gun, the shooter, and the screen. So how are they going to make that work on PS4? But
it does have the 6-axis and the controller, right? Like you are able to tilt it, but it's I don't know.
But am I going to hold it and hit the down on the D-pad? Like that's just going to be weird.
Yep, it will. But we do have a few announcements and stuff today. Scott, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so Back 4 Blood's first expansion is almost here, and it looks messy. Well, that's no surprise. That game, again, sounds disgusting. Audio direction is really big for me, and I picked that one up. But we now have Tunnels of Terror nearly upon us. It will be available on April 12th, and developer Turtle Rock Studio has given players a look at the new features in a launch trailer. The Tunnels of Terror DLC for the co-op shooter will introduce 7 Ridden Hives to the game. These are 4-player co-op dungeons, so a bit like Raid.
Yeah.
They're adding 3 new monster types as part of that, so there'll be a little bit of change with the enemies, the weapon types. There's a whole mess of new items to kind of customize your character. And they're also adding 2 new characters, Charisse, a defensive fighter, and Hang, a knife-wielding restaurateur. I like that.
I don't know about the knife. Man, I want more than a knife going into this fight.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of messy. You need a lot more than a knife. But
yeah, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Let's go.
I'm looking forward to getting back into that, though. I jumped through that game in, I think, 2 or 3 sittings with a friend of mine, and I want to go back around for some more. I didn't get enough out of it.
Nice. There you go.
We also have Mario Golf being added to the Nintendo Switch online library. So this is the N64 version of Mario Golf. There have been several.
Okay, I wasn't sure which one. So assets are in there for the latest one. I thought that's not like Nintendo to do that.
Yeah, no, that would be that'd be a large giveaway.
Yes, it would be. I was like, oh man, get on Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh, it is now the 14th game for N64 that's available through the expansion program. And that's available on April 15th, it will be. So that's adding a little bit more value to this online expansion pack. I haven't indulged myself, but
I just nope, I kind of passed a little bit on it, to be honest. Even the new Mario Golf didn't really strike home too much with a lot of us here.
Oh no, I grabbed all the N64 games I actually own physical now, the ones that I really wanted, so I'm happy with that. But
GoldenEye,
we do. Yeah, Perfect Dark in my case. But
yeah, for sure.
GoldenEye, that's a good one. Operation Winback, that's probably one of my favorites.
Nice.
And the South Park game, even though that's awful, but it's great. We also have DLC launching for Orcs Must Die 3. It's available today now on Xbox, Stadia, PlayStation, and Steam. Good to see Stadia still swinging around.
That's right.
Then we have Lake on PS4 and PS5 now.
You ever play that one? That's one I keep hearing about that I need to get to.
Yeah, I have not, but I like the kind of vibe of it, and it becomes a first-person, walking sim. So yeah, that's my kind of thing.
Absolutely. No, I'd be down for checking that one out. I've heard a lot of good things, so there's your opportunity. Go check that out, because I know I'm going to be jumping into it here very shortly. Scott, but that's going to wrap up today's show. Just like that. It's been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. Thank you so much for hanging out with us over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. It's the weekend, everybody. Hit us up over on the official ITG. Let us know what you're playing. Until Monday, I'm Drew. That is Scott. And we'll see you inside the game.